Hey, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, YouTube. So, if you listen to the radio, I mean, everybody's freaking out over these tariffs and the hedge funds and this and that, interest rates, and oh my gosh, it's doom and gloom. And man, people need to just chill out. Trump said this from day one that, the first 6 months to a year, they're going to be difficult because we have to correct what's been done to this country. The stealing and theft and these trade deals that have just been horrible. So like right now, I think I heard say yesterday that right now, because of tariffs, the current tariffs, we're bringing in $2 billion a day. $2 billion a day is being brought in. So think of what that's doing for the deficit. My gosh, tariffs do work. Tariffs need to be equal, okay? And if you're not gonna have tariffs, then the trade between the two countries needs to be equal. If you do 50, I do 50. If you do 10, I do 10. And it shouldn't be, one does, 80 and we do 20 for the same country. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't care what country it is. And especially China. I'm sick of seeing made China, made China, made China. I'm sick of it. So the trade between the U.S. and China is BS, and we need to start manufacturing, back here in the United States. Stop being solely dependent on one country. And we saw what that did during COVID. Couldn't get respirators, couldn't get pharmaceuticals, couldn't get masks, couldn't get gloves. I mean, how dumb do you have to be? I'd say pretty stupid. So those things need to come back to the United States. I don't believe any country other than our own should be making pharmaceuticals. Medications need to be made here in the United States under strict control and quality control. You name it. I don't trust the Japanese. The Chinese. They're not our buddies. Just like the Russians weren't our buddies. And so when you talk about medical supplies, every country should be doing their own, making their own stuff, and TV should be made here in America, cars made in America, computer chips made here in America. Good for Taiwan that they're doing it, but there's no reason why we can't be doing that in our own country. So this Taiwanese company is going to be investing, I don't know how many billions of dollars into Arizona or Nevada or whatever, I can't remember, New Mexico, and bringing in some chip manufacturing here to the United States. That's where it should be. So all these container ships and so on and so forth, man, we can cut that in half. You want to talk about pollution. People talk about pollution and climate change. You realize some of these engines in these large vessels, I mean, they're the size of semi-trucks. So you can imagine how much diesel fuel they're gulping down every day, how much oil they're gulping down every day. And you people talk about climate change? Oh my gosh. You're so ignorant. While they're flying around their private jets to Europe and other places, preaching climate change, and they're putting more CO2 in the atmosphere than the average Joe Schmo. This cup, plastic. Phone, plastic. Plastic in my truck. There's plastic in some clothes, and so on and so forth. There's petroleum products everywhere. Asphalt roads, petroleum. People just don't understand. Rubber. It's like, God, they're so dumb and ignorant. And those people shouldn't be allowed to vote. I think you should have a voter's card. If you don't know the three branches of government, how our system works, and you can't articulate that, and you don't have an understanding, like take a test, and you pass or don't pass, you don't vote. And I liked it better back when George Washington was president. You had to, I think it was 100 acres. You had to own 100 acres. Otherwise, you couldn't vote. Because, when you're a property owner, you got a dog in the fight. So when it comes to taxes and so on and so forth, those things affect you. If you're a renter, you don't own anything, you're dependent on the government for food, electricity, transportation, you shouldn't have a vote. Because you're not contributing. You're sucking off the system. You're a bloodsucker, a leech. So you shouldn't have the ability to vote. And that's not being racist or anything. That's just being smart. Why give ignorant people the right to vote and they have no idea what they're voting on? Millages, you name it. If you don't understand it and you couldn't pass a test, you shouldn't be voting. Pretty simple. And that's what we need to get back to in the worst way. I'm just tired of seeing all these derelicts walking around at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, able-bodied folks that should be working. But nope, they're going to the local liquor store down there at the end of the block on their corner, getting their Mad Dog 2020 or their 40-ouncer, and they spend the rest of their afternoon smoking weed, drinking beer on their porch, waiting for that government check to come in, and then beating their kids. It just seems, I've seen so much bull crap, Section 8 housing and these people don't care. Federal government spends taxpayer money to build these Section 8 apartments, and these people just trash them. And you look at, they burn parts of their city down. They don't care because they know the government will step in and rebuild it. That's how dumb they are. These Democrats and their social programs. Oh, we got to help him out. He's stupid. We got to give them money because they're stupid. We can't have voter IDs because they're stupid or they can't get to a place to get an ID. But you got to have an ID to rent a car, rent an apartment, rent to own TV. You got to have an ID. If you're going to catch a flight, you got to have ID. There's so many things, checking accounts, savings accounts. There's so many things where you have to have an ID. But oh my gosh, if you want to go vote, you don't need an ID. Don't need it. And you're disenfranchising the African Americans. So basically what they're saying is blacks are too stupid to go get an ID. That's what they're saying. And if you don't see that, you're ignorant. You shouldn't be voting. Anyway, so that's my rant on the current tariff and panic that we see going on. People just freaking out. Talking about hedge funds collapsing and how the government has to go bail them out. That should not happen. That should not happen. Any industry that is that teetering on the edge should not get a bailout from the federal government. That's taxpayer money. So if I'm a small business owner and my business fails, do I get bailed out so I can start my business over again? Maybe learn my lessons and maybe build a bigger building, a smaller building, or move to a different city or town or state. The government should help me out again. No, absolutely not. I'm a firm believer, General Motors was having all their issues, and they got that big, huge government bailout because if they wouldn't have gotten it, they would have gone belly up. Well, they should have been permitted to go belly up. You know, then it could have been sold off. Someone else could have bought it, bought branches of it or whatever. I'm telling you, it would have. You know, we could have a whole new manufacturing automobile company if General Motors failed, because somebody else would step in and take their place. So, you know, it's like John Deere. Trust me, there's other tractor manufacturers out there that would love to step into the United States and take over where John Deere's being, pardon my language, huge dicks, and then wanting to move to Mexico. So if you're gonna jump out of the United States and go to Mexico because labor is cheap over there, and then you don't grant farmers the ability to work on their own equipment, give them the computer codes or lingo or technology so they can work on their tractors and stuff, but you charge them through the nutsack, pardon my language, to come out and fix their tractor. That's John Deere. How many people know that? That if you bought a $300,000 John Deere and you have electrical problems, you can't fix it yourself. You can't access the technology. They don't give you access. One of their service techs has to come out there and service it, analyze it, troubleshoot it. You don't get to do that. So to me, that's wrong. If I spend $300,000 for a piece of equipment, I own it all. And I should be able to work on it, service it, pull up any computer data, download it, refresh it, whatever needs to be done. But nope, can't do that if you bought a John Deere. And to me, that's wrong. So I think if John Deere wants to pull up and move out of the United States, let them do it. Because you've just killed your company. And it won't be long. They'll either move back to the United States or they'll be begging for government aid. And at that point, we won't give it to them because, you know what? You were too stupid. You didn't listen to us. You pulled out. We told you not to. So now you just have to suffer the consequences. Maybe the board will turn around and fire you. Yeah. So there's, so there's so many things in this country that need to be corrected, and you can't do it overnight. It's just, Obama was the downfall of the United States. When you look at some of the judges that treasonous piece of shit put in, his goal was to destroy the United States, just like George Soros. How do you think an ignorant guy like Obama comes out of nowhere and has the funds and so on and so forth as a community organizer? That was his claim to fame, a community organizer. Okay? And then you have Donald Trump, who's a billionaire business owner. He said businesses succeed and fail, hired and fired, so on and so forth. Obama didn't do any of that. He never hired anybody. He never owned a business. He was just a community organizer, community mouthpiece. So the only thing that Obama did well was he could read the teleprompter good. He's not smart. Not by any stretch of the imagination. If you had Obama without a prepared speech, he's a knucklehead. Listen to him. There's video out there of that guy speaking off prompter. Terrible. So the best speaker thus far as president has been Trump. That guy could speak, without a teleprompter for hours. Doesn't need talking points, bullet points. He's just a brilliant man. And Elon Musk too. The only thing that drives me crazy about Elon is when he has those awkward pauses mid-sentence where he's kind of looking around, but he's gathering his thoughts because his brain doesn't shut off or work the same way as the rest of us. He's just constantly running. Super smart man. I just love that guy, and I like what he's doing, and I like what he wants to do, and I'm just, gosh, I'd love the opportunity to to hang out with Elon Musk for a day. It would just be cool just to shadow him for a day. I think that would be an amazing day for me. But anyway, so but again, so back to what I was saying. Some of the most intelligent people aren't panicking right now. I mean, it's like when people are selling, I'm buying. And because this is going to rebound. And those that are snatching up what these idiots are kicking out and dropping because they're freaked out, well, they're not going to fare so well here in a year. They're just not. Panic selling never works out for anybody. And those, because the guys that are really sharp and smart and have been managing their money wisely, because trust me, they have the funds to snatch up what people are throwing away right now because they're doing it in a panic. Something bad's going to happen. So you got to remember, man, so much of the world is dependent on the United States. Militarily, economically, we give other countries billions of dollars. It's not just Israel. Egypt gets billions of dollars. So many countries get billions of dollars from the United States. We have been funding Canada's butt for decades. Canada, they don't even have a military. If something bad happens, they're looking to us to bail them out. Russia can walk in and take Canada in a day. That's how weak Canada is. But they know that we wouldn't allow it. We're not going to allow them on our northern border. So they know it. So that's got to change too. So these Canadians, they think they have something over the United States when 40% of their GDP is dependent on the United States. Yeah, I think not. You even had a province. I can't remember which one it was, maybe Alberta or whatever, that wanted to join the United States. They wanted to be the 51st state. So, I say do it. As long as the majority of conservatives there, we should do it too. But anyway, so that's my rant for 17 and a half minutes, almost 18, going to 18. This road here gets pretty bad, pretty choppy, and so that's my opinion, and guys, don't panic. Don't freak out. Things are going to get better. Don't listen to these talking knuckleheads on the radio and TV that the economy's going to crash. We're all gonna suffer. Oh, it's going to be horrible. Freaking relax. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. I can't say this enough. Yes, I'm begging. I really want to get my channel out there while I'm still able, while I still can. If you could help me out, I'd appreciate it. So thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. And have a good day. Be blessed. And again, thanks for tuning in.